Hi, Dale Demonique. I've been waiting to respond to this, and I wasn't really sure if I would because the back and forth within Menhem, I find his presentation misogynist, and I don't mind heated presentations. And there might be something in the back and forth, but it wouldn't really matter to me because, meaning I haven't seen all the back and forth that might justify him being that way in some emotional justification. But basically, it's internet heat. If you let it go there, it reflects on you. Okay, and I preface it this way because I do think it is true that a market anarchy just goes to a monarchy. And the reason is gods didn't really come and assign us those kings. The way we got kings was through a free market system in which slavery and organized crime was more or less approved. In Greece you had Sparta and Athens representing the free society version and Sparta being very militarized. But in Athens it was considered perfectly fine and a good business endeavor to, get 50 guys, go ride out to the villages and just take whatever the hell you want. And this is the invention, well, not the invention, but the institutionalization of taxation in the West. And, the monopoly of force by the government has to be compared with the use of force by private parties. They will form their own militaries and they will act in their best interest. This is a problem with libertarianism, is it has, because I consider myself a libertarian, but I'm a progressive libertarian and it's nothing like the Libertarian Party or a lot of libertarianism. And the main problem with libertarianism that I see is this idea that the government is the only problem. Government is a tool and it can become corrupt. It can be part of the problem, and it is right now. But corporations are not so efficient, and corporations are not looking out for your freedom. If you're really a libertarian, then you need to look at the situation from the point of view of how do you get this liberty, define liberty, and how do you actually get it in the real world. It can't just be the principle of potential liberty where we call ourselves all free, but none of us are free because, say, instead of the government, some corporate system has a control on force. And it can't be that, oh, well, someone else has a right to start up their own police force, so that's okay, just start your own. That's not actual freedom. So, and you could easily get in a situation like that. If all the roads in this nation were private roads and everything was private, then they would need a private security forces, and these would be the security forces that we deal with rather than the police that have some accountability to us rather than just to whomever's paying them. The problem with the corporate world is many of the things that we call corrupt in government they don't even count as corrupt in the corporate world. That's just the way that you'd expect it. If a security force that's privately paid, is responding to the people that pay them and their bosses to find out what to do in protecting some site where they're hired to protect, and right now, not in this hypothetical thing, we would expect that to be the right thing to do. I would expect a security guard hired to guard a plant during the night to be responsive to their bosses and and really do whatever they say, so hopefully it's legal. But if there's a gray area, basically I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be going to their boss to determine how to interpret the gray area. And where does that leave us when we need a legal system to determine a lot of the really crucial, important areas? A justice system. We have to make a justice system. If there's a problem with it, then we have to fix it. Because there isn't a solution just hoping that private entities will protect our actual freedoms. And not just freedoms in principle, but actual freedoms. Now, on taxes, I totally agree with you, and I think it sucks, and here's an idea. I believe that when we fill out our taxes, there ought to be a form where we get to decide what percentage goes where. I don't think you can just let people not pay taxes at all. There's various reasons. Maybe in the long run, I could work towards a system like that. I would like personal sovereignty. But as a practical thing right now, I think really we should just be able to say what percentage of our taxes goes to what department or category. You could have, anywhere from 5 to, 30 categories of budget items, major line items that people could decide what percentage goes where. And I think we would give us a chance to vote with our dollar. It would be something that the government would really care a lot about. They would have to engage with the public around tax time, especially in a way that's different from the elections and the pandering to get elected. So they'd have to tell us why they wanted money in certain areas. So anyway, that's a second idea in here. And I like people that are vocal. So I don't mind if you try to cut these ideas down. I mean, anyway, I don't want to get into all that. But okay, that's my idea on market anarchy. And I will say one more thing. I respect market anarchy. This is why I have my own heritage of a libertarian idea. I respect why, the motivation of why. But I do think if you look at history, yes, there are reasons to want that kind of system because you're looking at the faults of other systems. But really, if you do look at history, I think you can see that kind of laissez-faire system just leads back to what we have right now, basically. So we have to move forward.